there are no chemical weapons in Syria, or are you just saying that you didn't do it?
Thank you very much for asking these very important questions. Number one, the Syrian government did not say that the sarin gas was not used in Khan al-Assal. Actually, we were the first to say that in March the 20th, which means one day after the attack by chemical substances on Khan al-Assal. And we insisted in our request to the Secretary General on two things. A, to prove that the chemical weapons were used. B, who did it. The American delegation, the French and the British at that time, objected to B. They just wanted to focus on whether the chemical weapons were used or not. So we were highly interested from the beginning in shedding lights on the use of chemical weapons by the armed groups in Khan al-Assal. This is number one. Number two, we are not saying that chemical weapons were used, chemical weapons in its conventional definition as one type of the weapons of mass destruction. What Mr. Kerry said 2 days ago about the signatures of sarin found in the results he referred to is not a big discovery, because the Syrian government said it 5 months ago. We said from the beginning that the sarin gas, neurotoxic gas, were used in Khan al-Assal. And nobody cared about it at the time because all of them knew who did it. And the British intelligence, as you may remember, sneaked illegally inside Syria, took samples from Khan al-Assal, analyzed the samples, and came out with the result, which is that the armed groups used the chemical weapons in Khan al-Assal. So
Mr. Ja'afari,
then the Russians themselves submitted a report
the British,
to
the
the Security
French, the
Council.
United States, sir, the British, the French, the United States all say that chemical weapons have been used, as you say, but that they have been used by your government because the opposition does simply not have access to the delivery systems, to the wherewithal, to the stockpiles. And it kind of beggars belief, sir, and this is unfortunately a historical precedent, to think that people are gassing themselves. So this is a major problem with your argument. And it does sound right now that the Syrian government is pretty afraid. All of a sudden, all of you are out giving interviews, the president, Assad to the Figaro, you are talking to me, others are talking to other journalists. I'm trying to figure out, you believe, don't you, that there is going to be a major US strike on your military facilities?
Christian, the reports emanating from USA, France and Britain are not and could not be taken seriously, and they are not credible, because these three governments are deeply involved in the Syrian crisis, in helping the armed groups against the government. So the Russians themselves submitted a report.
Sir,
give me some time, please, to clarify my point. The Russians submitted a report of
She doesn't want him to make his
to the
point.
Security Council. The Judge Del Ponte from Geneva testified that, according to her information,